Hi guys, happy Thanksgiving. Is anybody online today? Hopefully. Hi guys, thanks for joining. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving weekend in Canada, so if you're celebrating, anyways, we should always, this should apply, this is a daily thing. Happy Thanksgiving, because we have been given today. We woke up. Lots of people don't wake up. So thank you for joining. We're giving everybody about a minute to join, and then we'll get going. Thank you for joining. This is a live about mindset, manifesting your dream life, but not via magical tricks, by resetting your mind, by self-concept, by changing the behavior based on new energetic systems, by understanding yourself better, by understanding your patterns, by understanding that if you do the same thing day after day after day, you will get the same results. And the only way you can have a different life is if you do something different, if you think something different, if you offer a different vibration. There's really no way of changing anything otherwise. I just did a video about why, there's that common adage, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It actually has a supporting Bible verse that says the same thing. And, for people who don't understand why that is because every energy system seeks to maintain itself, multiply, and grow, right? That is the natural impulse, because energy is alive. And the natural impulse of life is to seek out to live more. So any energetic system, okay, you're thinking it's nothing, but really, like any energetic system, whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you, it doesn't matter. What it seeks out is its own self-preservation, just like you seek out your own self-preservation. So if you're in a negative energy system, this energy system that you're in will seek out to preserve itself. Doesn't want to go away, doesn't want to die, doesn't want to be nullified, right? Now, of course, if you're in a positive energy system, the same thing will happen. The same thing, it will seek out to live more. And the way you can interrupt an energy system is by offering the opposite vibration. That's the only way. That's the only way. So to summarize the video I just made, the rich only lose their money if all of a sudden they wake up and they offer the opposite vibration, not for one day, but for a sustained amount of time, which is the opposite vibration of their wealth, which would be fear. Okay, so when they wake up in fear and negativity or whatever similar, when they wake up like that day after day after day, they will lose all their money. This is why most lottery winners, they lose all their money, because they go back to their old vibrations. And those old vibrations are vibrations of poor people. And they will destroy this new energy system that hasn't had a chance to yet grow and multiply, right? If they randomly win the lottery, the energy system that's just beginning to form of them being rich will just easily be destroyed by old thought patterns. And so the wealth will scatter. The energetic, there isn't enough of an energetic basis there to sustain it. Now it follows that if you're poor, and if you don't have the things that you want to have in your life, and you're noticing this singledom and poverty, and you don't have any friends, you don't live in a place you want, as long as you're observing this and you're fearing is going to get worse, that's what you're offering the energy system. Now, in order to break this energy system, you have to offer the opposite vibration. It's the same thing. If you're wealthy, you want to lose your money, you want to change it around, you have to offer fear. So if you're poor and you want to change that, you have to offer the opposite vibration. So instead of fear, you have to offer the opposite of that, right? This is what we're talking about. But you can't offer it for one day and be like, yeah, I made a journal entry and everything's going to change right now. No, you got to offer it until you feel it. And for most people, because they're so trained to get their input from their output, they're so used to wait to see what inner feelings they're going to have today based on how the day unfolds, right? Am I going to be happy today? I don't know. It depends on how my spouse treats me. It depends on how my children treat me. It depends on how my day at work is going to go. Then I'm going to determine if I'm happy at the end of the day or not. I don't know, right? In fact, you have to start to the opposite. You have to determine an intent that no matter what happens, you will not change your point of vibration. That's the whole key to manifestation. right? It's the whole key is it's you're not taking your input from the output. The output's always negative for regular people. The output's negative, right? You do a routine, you do the same thing every day, you go to a work you probably don't like, your spouse is hot and cold, your kids are hot and cold, the grocery store is busy, there's a lineup, somebody cut you off on the road. So, the majority of the output, which you're now going to internalize as your input, is negative, right? So I need you guys to be in a vibration that is in complete ignorance of what's going on around you. And this has to be sustained. It can't be like one day, one journal entry, 1 week, in fact, the reason I so recommend doing the 60-day challenge in my bio, which I put out for a nominal cost, is because it keeps you in a different vibrational state for a sustained amount of time than you're used to, right? And when you get there, you'll notice you might not be able to continue after day 10, 15. I get a lot of reports, like people just stop and they're like, oh, I'm just restarting my challenge because I stopped. So why'd you stop? He goes like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to affirm this positive things. Isn't that interesting? The brain just goes in shutdown mode. It's like, I don't want to get up and get on the computer and associate what happened today with what I said, because then I have to admit then what I said, I brought forth this reality that I don't want, right? So the brain doesn't want that. It doesn't want to deal with the implications of that. And sort of your will has to be stronger to overcome what your brain doesn't want to do or wants to do, right? So this is sort of where we're at. In order, if you've tried everything else, you try the whisper method, the honey, whatever methods they teach you to do in like 3 seconds and get results. If you've tried all that, try the easy stuff first. But if you've done all that and now you're like, okay, this isn't working for me, I must have a strong paradigm. And because of that, I must understand the principles on which life works and energy systems work. And I must understand, I need to be part of a group of people who are doing this, who have been doing this a little bit longer, who sort of have effectuated changes in their lives. There's this queen in our group, my Facebook group. So I have a group for those who want to take the 60-day challenge and share their experiences and be held accountable. So it's also in my bio. Sorry, guys, I have to decline this call. Please don't call me. I don't take calls during my lives. Right. So she basically said, oh my God, guys, I didn't even realize last week, I set a manifestation of I must get $1,000 extra in this week. And I just checked now and it's just over $1,000 in the sales I got on my, I don't know, Etsy store or whatever she has going on. And she says, I didn't even realize that I had written about this. I saw the account, but then it didn't click to me until later that, I wrote about it. I said, I must make this $1,000 and I wrote it here in the challenge and it came to pass, right? So I want to tell you guys something. When changes happen, okay, changes and success in manifestation work is cumulative. And what I responded to this queen when she put this is that I am now living the life that I was scripting about in November 2021. But it didn't happen overnight. It happened only because I have those journals and I know what the intentions I set. And when I read that page is exactly what I wrote about and what I held in my vibrational system, right? And there's more coming, right? Because one of the manifestation I wrote is I want to spend winters in a warm climate, and all of that is coming together, right, in my life. But it's just when I started to write them, I was at a point where this is impossible, right? I've never done this before. It's going to take so long. It's going to be, success is cumulative, because what happens is the energy system is slowly changing. Very, very few people in this world can wake up and have this massive epiphany that everything can be different, and they're really they were the only problem, and the only problem that got in the way was themselves, and they're going to change everything now. And everything does change, because they had this massive epiphany in their paradigm. They're no more poverty, no more singledom, no more, I'm the best, I deserve everything. But who can do that, right? Regular people can't do that. They would be maybe 1 in 1,000 people who can do that, right? So I'm here for everybody else. I'm here. Let's do it step by step. Do the work and you will have results. Okay, we had a wonderful live on Saturday on my, if you guys don't know me, I do a TikTok live 2 times a week for the people who are doing the 60-day challenge. And of course, you're welcome to stay even if you're not. If you want to learn the energetic principles of life and how to change your energy if you want to change it, or how to maintain a positive state of energy and bring forth the life that you want. So those 2 lives are Mondays 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is now, and Thursday night 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for my Facebook group, I do a bi-monthly Facebook live just to take up any sort of practical questions about life, about day-to-day, about how their behavior should be in certain situations, more specific situations. So we had a really good one on Saturday, I thought. And if anybody was on it, please let me know what you thought of it. We had about 200 comments on it, and I think like I took up everyone's questions, but please let me know if you were on my live on Saturday. Let me know what you thought of it. Okay, so I want to, as I have topics that I talk about during my lives. If you guys have questions as I'm going along about the specific topics, please let me know. Just put a comment there and I may get back to it. But I come to this lives usually very prepared and ready to talk about whatever came up during the week or the emails that I get. And I got an email from a queen, and she's basically saying she's at a crossroads to make a decision. And she's been part of the 60-day challenge, she's manifested several changes in her life already. And so right now, what's happening with her is that she has a choice. She has a certain amount of money, and with this amount of money, she can either move to the place that she wants to live in, or she can do a medical procedure via which she can preserve her eggs, because she's of a certain age to preserve her future fertility. So this amount of money, she can do both at this current point in time, right? So on one hand, at the place she's at, she hates it. She knows where she wants to move. Everything is sort of lined up for her to move, but she needs to expend this amount of money to move and to have this new life. Or she can use this amount of money because a procedure just became affordable to her at this amount of money. But she must do it in the country that she's in right now, that she doesn't want to stay in. And this is like a really hard choice, right? I definitely can't give advice on this. This is a huge 2 different things, right? But I can only tell you guys what I would do in this kind of situations with the hard choices, okay? Number 1, the environment in which you are in matters immensely. So that's just a thought you need to keep in mind when you have to make a tough decision. The universe will give you tough decisions, okay? Just to test you, just to test your resolve, to test how you're handling things differently. Have you grown energetically? Are you ready for bigger things in your life? Or are you making these decisions from the same point of fear? From the same point of not enough, from the same point of I'm not sure. But when you are presented with these choices, know that it's sort of like a test you must pass. And it's almost like you have to make the decision that you would regret the least if you didn't make it. You know what I mean? So for me, the environment, I really believe that if you don't have a supportive environment, if you're not happy in the place that you're with, whether it's with the person that you're with, in the house, in the country that you're with, then it's very difficult to manifest the life you want from that point. I would rather, if I was unhappy in all elements in my environment, I would rather start fresh in a new place. In a place that, okay, I may be happy or may be unhappy, but right now in this place, I'm deeply unhappy and I don't want to be here. And that choice that I must stay here for a much longer amount of time in order to save money, to move, okay? And instead of that, spending on a procedure that may or may not work in the end, right? Because these are not 100% guarantees. I would choose to move. Now, I'm not telling this queen what to do. This is a very, very personal decision. Also, I don't want you guys to think, like I did a video in the weekend about statistics, right? So statistically, I know they tell you this queen is in her late 30s. They tell you that your fertility is going to be 0 by the time you're like, I don't know, 44 or something like this. But you don't have to be a statistic. If you have faith and you believe, things can turn around very, very quickly in terms of meeting someone, in terms of starting a family. I know personally more than one woman who was in that situation, approaching 40, maybe even a little bit over 40, and the baby happened for them on a natural way. I'm not saying it's guaranteed it would happen to you. I'm saying it's a choice on whether to believe, if you're going to be a statistics, or if you're going to abide your thought form based on statistics, or whether you're going to believe that for you, life doesn't happen based on statistics. Right? Oh, thanks, Tammy. You enjoyed the live on Saturday. Thank you so much. Guys, my battery's low, 20%, but we should still be able to do it. We should be able to last another. I have to leave a few minutes earlier today because it's Thanksgiving, so we have some plans for 1 p.m., but I'll leave maybe around 12:45 or something like this. Okay, so Irina, you have some comments on how you would handle it. This queen will have to make a decision that's right for her. What I'm suggesting is that environment matters, and one of these choices has to do with the environment, right? The longer you put your life on hold, how can I say this? When you have certain goals in life that you're working on to achieve, let's say you mean to write a book, right? Or you mean to look for a new job, but you haven't gotten around to it. That energy of postponing things, it has a huge toll on your energetic system. Those are things that exist, but they're not realized because you're not actioning them. And because those things exist in your information system now, because you put them there, right? They suck up your energy. So if you said in your mind, you're going to start writing a book, and you said this in your mind a year ago and you haven't started, I want you to sort of give up on the idea. Okay, maybe you'll pick it up next year, maybe not. But if you're carrying it around and once in a while you think about it and you think how you must do it, you must do this thing, but you haven't started yet, that's an energy consumption project that's taking on your energy system. Okay, and it's preventing you from doing things that maybe you are more likely to action in today. This is important. Everything that you postpone but exists because you set it out there. I'm not talking about a goal that you're working towards, right? So your goal of being a certain weight, you're working towards it, right? You're instructing your body every day to be that, and there's progress. I'm talking about goals that you put out there that you know you're not going to execute on immediately. Just drop them. You can go back to them and set them as goals when you are actually able to take the first step to implement them. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so remember, when you put out a thought form, we talked about this. We haven't talked about it in months and months because I feel like in my earlier content, I covered a lot of the bases. But a thought form that you put out there, you can never erase, right? It's going out there into the system and it's trying to gain energy, right? It's just like we talked about at the beginning of the live, the energy of wealth, the energy of poverty. Every energetic system is seeking to maintain its existence and to multiply if possible. And it will keep doing that until it's interrupted, which means it will keep siphoning out energy from you, right? You must take inspired action. Somebody else who was saying, I'm not sure what the story was, but oh, yeah, I know what the story was. She said she started a 60-day challenge, and all of a sudden there was a gym in her neighborhood that she passed by all the time. And she was like, it's too expensive to join. All of a sudden as she's doing this challenge, she's like, I'm going to go in and inquire about it. And inside she found out, oh, there's like, it's not just a gym. They have sauna and they have other activities it's more like a club almost. And she's like, you know what, I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to do it. And she's saying it's because she's doing this challenge and she's changing her self-concept and she's putting herself at the front, and so she decided to join this place. So I want you guys to understand that the decisions you're gonna make today versus the decisions you're gonna make as you place more value on yourself, as you change your self-image, those will be different decisions. And at some point you'll be like, how come I didn't do this already? You know, like I always pass by this gym. How come I didn't do this sooner? Well, you weren't ready for that sooner. But once you change your energy system, there should be new prompts, new impulses in you to take inspired action. Okay, and this new prompts that exist within you must be honored. If you don't take them, the universe will not give you too many more other ones towards your goal. So, for example, if your inspired action is to have a successful business, but, you know, you got some emails and you ignored them and you didn't reply, you know, maybe somebody said, oh, I want to discuss this with you. It might be something good for you, but you're like, oh, this is spam or this is junk. And you're not taking that action of investigating what the universe is sending to you day after. The universe will stop sending you things, right? I'm not saying you have to say yes to everything that happens. I'm saying you have to investigate everything in the unknown that happens. I made a dating app and I had a really sickening dream the next day, so I deleted it. Sorry, you put yourself on a dating app or you made a dating app? You created a dating app. Oh, you made a profile. Yeah, listen, the paradigm will seek to maintain its identity. It likes you single, 100%. It like you're safe single. You know, nothing bad can happen to you, especially if you've had negative experiences with men in the past. Knock on wood, if you've been abused or anything like that. The paradigm does not want you to meet men. Okay? It doesn't want you. It knows you're safe now in your day-to-day with zero interaction with the man not touching you. And that's it. So it will give you bad dreams. It will give you all sorts of fears. It will give you... Somebody asked me about what I think on online dating. They put a comment in there. And I talked to my group a lot about it because I feel like other than manifestation, energy system explanation, mindset, I really have to give people practical advice on how their behavior must change in order to attract different outcomes. So I will respond to that. I will do a little video about it just to remind everybody, and I'll post it just so it's there so that everybody who wants to try a different approach can try a different approach. But there's people who try a different approach in my group and the approach that I suggested. And they're all like, oh my God, everybody treats me differently, men treat me differently. I'll post some of the screenshots in the video that I make. I'll make it like maybe tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, of course they do. Because now this approach is different. You're not going there with this desperation of, I'm excited. The next man may be my husband, you know, or I'm getting a really good vibe from this guy. We're chattering. It's so funny. It's so humorous. We've been talking for 2-3 weeks. It's so much fun. I'm sure when you meet him, he's like 20 years older and shorter than you, and it's not somebody you would ever touch. And so you go home with this huge disappointment. Now you want to delete your profile. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe people do that. I can't believe, you know, like, or even for guys, right? I can't believe she was like 200 pounds heavier than she said she was. I can't believe, you know, if you take my approach, the approach is like, don't talk to people for a long time. Meet them right away. Meet them only for coffee first. Do not let your ego get in the way. Be like, I'm worth so much more than a coffee. Well, guess what? I'm not even thinking that, because I'm thinking they're not worth more than 20 minutes of my time until I validate it. I want to go out with them. Get it? Like you bring it back to yourself. I'm not looking for free meals. They're like, I want to go in for 20 minutes to see if he actually looks like his photos. Maybe he's only funny when he writes. Maybe if there was this viral video that was going around like in 2022. And it was this guy who said, you know, guys, don't online date because horrible things can happen. Like, for example, I was talking to this girl for months, and for a couple of months, and I even FaceTime her. To my FaceTime doesn't work. Don't waste your time on any of that stuff. Turns out the girl looked completely different, and he had been FaceTiming with her best friend, who best friend was married and was helping her out. The best friend was attractive and this girl was not. So when he met her in person, he said, you're not the girl I was talking to. She said, no, it was my friend. She lives in a different state. I was just helping her out. She was just helping me out. I can't. And then he said, I'm out of here. And then, you know, she basically lost it on him. She's like, I can't believe you're so shallow. You know, when we were texting, it was still me, the real me. Guys, don't do that, okay? Don't have the expectation of a man to fall in love with the inner you or anything. This is just, BS, that's never going to work. Be honest, be yourself, and show up as the real you, but only give it 20 minutes and meet right away. Okay, because if you don't do that, you are going to be hurt. You're not going to be able to sustain 3 or 4 of these experiences and be okay. But you're going to be able to sustain 10, 20 coffee dates, no problem, even if he doesn't look like his photos, because you met him like day 3 or 4 after talking to him, and it's just a numbers game, right? Some people lie, some people don't. It doesn't really matter. You don't have an emotional attachment. You're not excited. You don't have an emotional engagement. You don't really care. It's just a numbers game. Okay, really, the process of dating starts not online. It starts when you meet somebody, you like him, he likes you, and he asks you out. That's when the process starts. Everything before that is just a social structure that's imposed on us because this is how the way the world works right now. Right? It's just, we can't meet people in the street. Men can't approach women in the street. I would be horrified if somebody approaches me at the grocery store, starts chatting me up, asks me for my number. Forget it. It just doesn't work that way anymore, right? It just doesn't. So we have to function within the current world and the current mind in terms of how we're going to do things. But then, if you do it correctly, you don't let it impact you. This is what I'm saying. So I hope it's clear. If you're not ready to online date, I don't know who said that above. I'm not trying to convince you to. That's not what this is about. I'm telling you, your paradigm and your energetic system will always want to keep you in status quo because that's where you're safe. And it's not likely you're going to meet a person any other way. Unless you're like in school, you're in university, you're like 25 years old, you're going to clubs. But if you don't have a social life, all your friends are married, all their friends are married or, in worse positions, maybe divorced, maybe you don't want them. I'm not really seeing much of another way to find somebody for a man to just fall out of the sky and onto your porch and bring you a rose, Let's see. If someone don't want to meet you right away, that's a red flag, 100%. And by the way, look, this comment is from a guy. Guys love it when you suggest a coffee date. I'm always the one who had suggested the coffee date, right? I don't wait for them. I'm like, this conversation is nice. My approach is to meet for coffee, just to validate our profiles, and then if we like each other, I guess you can ask me out or we can have some dinner plans later. How does that sound? I'd be prepared to meet for like a half-hour coffee. Let me know. Men love that. They're like, I don't have to make an investment. It's fair to you and it's fair to them. Why shouldn't it be? Why should it cost a man a $300 meal to see if you look like your photos? That's not a reasonable expectation, right? I'm in the challenge, but not on Facebook. Yeah, a few people are in the challenge, but not on Facebook. But the Facebook group is very helpful. Let's see. I want to see if I missed anything. Oh my God, guys always talk to me when I'm going grocery shopping. This may be dependent on the country you live in. I don't know. In Canada, nobody approaches anybody. What country do you live in, Martha? I'm just curious. You probably live in Europe. I bet you live in Europe. It's like a different culture, right? In North America, forget it. Maybe if they talk to you, it's not. They got Poland, yeah. Poland is a bit different. Yeah. Do you think it is all right when I have bad thoughts or trigger me, flip them, affirm to the good story? Yeah. Like what else would you be doing with them? That's what you're supposed to do with them all the time. What's the alternative to flip them? The alternative would be to continue in them. That's not a viable alternative. I just want to see if I covered what I wanted to talk about. Somebody asked on the group, what's the difference between a protector, provider, prioritizer man or a protector, prioritizer, provider, daddy? And I didn't really understand what she meant. It was a genuine question. So I just want to clarify, when I used to have a relationship account, and I always advised men to protect, provide, and prioritize women. And what I found was really that all men like kind of wanted to do that anyways. But they were just complaining to me that they can't find the right woman to do that for, or that the woman they would have wanted to do that for didn't return to them the behavior that they would have wanted out of her. So I want, number one, the queens who are in my group to understand I'm not trying to impose my view on how relationships should unfold on other women. So if you have a different model that you want your relationship to go in, okay, that's okay. And it doesn't mean you can't manifest that relationship. It doesn't mean that what I'm teaching is incorrect. I'm saying for myself and for the women that I have worked with, who have tried it the other way. They have tried to be a 50-50 partner. They have tried to, sort of like be okay with the fact that the man has other females in his life. They try to be okay with the fact that, other people come ahead of her, like his mother or his children that maybe he doesn't have with her, that they've tried to be okay in that energy system and it didn't work out for them. Okay. They were always like, I'm not sure what's wrong. He's not communicating enough. He's not, that's my most recent call that I had with someone. He's not communicating. You've been with him for 4 years or 3.5 years. He's not communicating enough. That's not it. His priorities is not you. That's the problem, right? So for me, and what I advise women who think sort of this way, that their way didn't work, they weren't happy in previous relationships, I suggest that you have to look at a man through the prism of, is he a provider? Is he a protector? And is he a prioritizer? Now, men who don't do this for you doesn't mean they won't do it for other women. This is a key element you have to understand, okay? Because if he doesn't want to provide for you, or if he doesn't act protective towards you, or if he doesn't prioritize you, doesn't mean he's not going to prioritize another woman. Doesn't mean that's how he is, okay? A lot of us excuse men's behavior with, he's traumatized from his childhood, and it's his dad, and it's his, you know what? Unless we're talking about a guy who's 21 who hasn't really figured out his self-identity. Sometimes women use this when they talk about 40-year-old men. You know what I mean? Yeah, listen, he knows he has to bring you flowers and open the doors because he's seen it done in movies at least. Okay, it doesn't matter if his dad was a jerk and his dad has abused him. He knows he must open the door. And if you make yourself the type of woman that would kind of be surprised if he doesn't open the door, right? You'd be surprised because this gesture doesn't really cost him anything. Why isn't he doing it? Right? So if you kind of act surprised about it, he might be like, oh, this is something that I must do in order to, ideally he would do it anyways. But whatever behaviors that you want or you don't want, you have to enforce those. Right? You have to have very clear boundaries. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you're looking for society to define your boundaries, you're making a huge mistake. Like a huge, huge mistake. Okay? Because society will tell you everything is okay. Everything's okay. A man doesn't need to do anything for you in order for you to be with him. Okay? He doesn't even need to be faithful to you, really. Right? Because now this is a hookup culture and you must accept that. That's the message, right? It's a hookup culture. Okay, so what do you do? Let's say this is true. Let's say it's a hookup culture. What are you going to do? You must now give your body to 100 men because that's how it is? Like, I don't understand. You have a choice to participate in the culture or not participate in the culture. Right? And the world could tell you, in fact, why do you need a man to open the door for you? Don't you have 2 hands? Don't you? Why do you go buy him flowers? If you guys heard that, go buy him flowers. Enough said. So my point is, guys, I would not date anybody who wasn't display the qualities of a protector, provider, prioritizer. The majority of women will not be happy not being prioritized, not being the number one person in a man's life. Okay, and this is like, you might not understand why you're not happy, but it's probably because of that. A woman will also not be in a masculine-feminine dynamic if they go 50-50 on lifestyle expenses. And then, a woman will not feel in her feminine if he doesn't display a protective side. Like if you're moving a couch and the table and he has no problem letting you do that by yourself, like he doesn't have that protective element, like, oh my God, let me help you. Not because, I have to, but because what are you doing? Like, what are you doing changing the light bulb? Like, you might fall. I don't want you driving downtown, alone at night because I'm scared for, like, you might do it anyways. That's fine. You might tell him, no, I'm okay. I want to do this. And he should respect that. But his first initial impulse is not like, okay, see you. Get home whenever you get home. It doesn't matter. Right? What are your thoughts? What's going on here? Why am I not getting any? Where's the comments on this? Tell me I'm nuts. Anyways, I won't change anything about my own personal life. But so I have it pretty good. But I'm hoping you're gonna change a lot of the societal beliefs. And whatever you believe about the relationships, I want you to ask yourself, whose thoughts are they? Are they thoughts of your mother because that's how you've seen her conduct her life? Are they thoughts because you've observed your mother and you said you're going to do the exact opposite of what she does? And sort of, if your mother was at the mercy of your father and he decided when to give her money, you went the flip side of that and you're like, I will not ever tell a man about my money. I will just pay for everything myself. He never needs to take care of me. I'm super independent. Like, where are these thoughts coming from? Are they really your thoughts that you sat down with your femininity and you're like, I have a thought. I want to pay 50% of the rent. Is that really? And if it's sincerely from the bottom of your heart, go ahead and do that. Right? % left. Men are reluctant because we don't set any boundaries. They become more reckless because we allow them as women. Yeah, exactly. They need you to hold the boundaries. By the way, this is what our grandmother's generations did all the time. They held the boundaries and the men behaved within those boundaries. You guys know that, right? Yeah, my goal is to become what my mother wasn't. Yeah, but it's still a thought that was determined. It's a conditioned thought. Okay, Mercurial girl, it's still a conditioned thought from your childhood. If you want to become the opposite of your mother. And that's okay, right? If she was maybe really bad and you want to be really good, just analyze each of the points that's the opposite of her and make sure it matches who you really are, right? Because we all have an innate energetic system. And my mom sat around and watched my stepfather verbally abuse me. I can't believe something in some moms like this. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to believe something like that also. This is terrible. You have to, good on you that you're changing this pattern now. And I want you to, perhaps, if you decide to do the work with us, stop identifying with that girl. That was, I know this is difficult, okay? But you must create a new story of how you are loved. It's very difficult to carry that story of how you weren't loved by either him or obviously her. And then from that story be like, I am now loved and all men will treat me amazingly. If you can do that, good on you. But most people can't do that without changing the story of their past. This is the hardest thing, guys. We must forgive everybody. But we must forgive everybody and not include in our energy system, in our social system, in our lives, the people that vibrate differently than us. So forgiveness is different than I'm still going to hang around with them. I'm still going to permit whatever they say into my energy system and I'm still going to internalize it, right? If you see that there's somebody in your social circle and they're negative and you can't but internalize what they say, maybe it's not easy to just ignore what they say, You're thinking about it. Catch yourself. Be honest with yourself. Are you still thinking about you visited a friend? Are you still thinking about what she said by the end of the night? Are you still thinking about what your mother said to you and how she could have said thank you and she didn't, and how she could have apologized and she didn't, and how she told you your hair looks bad, and how she told you you must lose some weight, stop eating that? I have a friend who told me her mom said, should you really be eating that? But the mom is the one who put it on the table. You know what I mean? If you find yourself in a situation where you're thinking about it afterwards, that means it's affecting your energy system. If you're not thinking about it, and if you can be like, yeah, I'm eating this, I'm gonna eat as much as I want, you watch me eat it, okay? And if you can do that and dispel her energy, that's okay. It doesn't matter what she says, right? If you can bring yourself to that point. But if you can't, get rid of these people in your life. They're energy vampires. Maybe they don't mean to be, but that's what they are to you. Right? 40. Do you guys have any questions on what was discussed? Because I gotta end a little bit earlier today, so I want to make sure that, okay, let's see. Somebody says 100% my ex-husband didn't prioritize me and I was the provider. I got burnt out. So not only he didn't prioritize you, but you were the provider. So you're in your masculine role. And I have a question for all the women that are pushed in their masculine role. And the only reason this happens to women now, the only reason is because society tells you it's okay to be in a provider and masculine role. Okay? Like my grandmother she wouldn't have done that because society told her that was ridiculous. That would have been like, what the heck? Only if you had like a person, like a major alcoholic who couldn't produce any money, and then everybody felt sorry for you as a woman. That would be the only case when this would have happened. But now it's happened a lot, okay? So the question that I have is, how can you keep any sort of attraction towards him? And I'd be curious, you don't have a name here, number 7 star, new moon. Were you able to keep your attraction? I would not be able to keep my attraction to a man if I was supporting him or going 50-50 with him, or I would not. Like, are you guys still attracted to this man, or is it just you think the whole thing is normal because society told you to, and it's also normal to lose your attraction? And I'm telling you, it's not normal to lose your attraction towards a man, because when you feel safe, protected, provided for on a day-to-day basis, you're going to maintain that attraction. You're going to be in a constant state of gratitude. Let's see if she responded. Can you shed some light on how to hold the vibration of abundance? The best way to do it is have something abundant happen to you when it happens to you, and hold on to that feeling. Okay, so you must cling and milk every single good. How you scratched the lottery ticket, you got $20. You're going to cling to this thing. You're going to cling to the sensation that you're a winner. Okay, anything good financially happens, you walk around, you find a $5 bill, you're going to hold on to this. Money's everywhere. It's everywhere for me. The universe always gives me signs that money is everywhere. My world always takes care of me all of the time. All the time. When you think of your bills, my world always takes care of me. There's always a way for more money to be brought into my life, right? So you must have a practice. In addition to that, you must have a practice where on a daily basis, you script about this, you become part of a group that's doing this work. You, like, for example, our group, you must have a daily reminder of who you are and what you can do, okay? And you must believe that your current circumstance is a reflection of old thought patterns that you are empowered to change. You're empowered to change. Okay, look, this queen replied she was not attracted to him. So this is what happened, guys. If you want to be independent women in that sense, in the sense that you wouldn't accept for a man to pay for you, I don't really understand what's happening, right? Because I was never of this mindset, even when I was younger. You will stop being attracted to these dusties, because there's nothing attractive about a man who's not in his masculine. And if you're a heterosexual woman and you're attracted to men, right? That feminine that's coming out of him, like we both have feminine and masculine within us, right? But for the women, should be 90% feminine, 10% masculine, for the men the opposite, right? And what's happening now, it's like it's going to 50-50, or women are getting more masculine. So, you know, if those qualities isn't there, you're really taking care of somebody. So you'll see them as your child, or as another woman, right? Energetically, that's how your energy system is reading his energy system. Either like he's your child, or as, you know, and you can't really sleep with him after, you know, you can't. This is what happens. And most women, like, they get involved outside of the marriage. They're like, oh, right now statistically women cheat more than men. Yeah, they do. I'm explaining to you why. They're in desperate need of that masculine vibe, right? And it's not necessarily the people they're cheating with are, you know, some macho men or whatever, but the one that is at home is another woman, okay, or a child. Forget it. Energetically, it's not, you don't want to touch them. Yeah, the relationships in which you provide turn toxic, of course, because now they need you. And they don't like to be in that position either. They feel there's something wrong with that. So now they start to be abusive. This is why the most abusive men are the men that produce the least amount of money. Right? Do you understand that? It's not actually the rich guys. Let's see. He really does feel like a child. Yeah. So you guys know what to look for, right? The ones of you who are single, I want you to see this as such a blessing, because now you're going to start this with new information and a new energetic system via which you're going to assess men, right? You decided, I'm not going to repeat the same patterns that I used to have. I'm not going to, you know, like, everything is preventable at its inception. Okay, so everybody likes, oh, you know, this is so toxic. Yeah, but you allowed the small little toxic things to accumulate. That's why this man is toxic, and that's why he's in your life, right? What should really happen is the first moment you see something toxic, you should say something. You should be like, listen, I didn't like when you say that. And if it repeats, it's not really the situation I want to be in, right? I don't really like that you have, I want to understand your life, right? So for me, those of you who are in my group know this, right? I would not get involved with a man who has female friends, right? Like female close friends. I'm not talking about high school friends, or, you know, like his childhood friends that once in a while he says happy birthday or Merry Christmas to. That's all I'm talking about. If he has female friends that he goes out with, that he shares what's happening in his life with, and, you know, then he's emotionally connected to another woman. And for me, that's a no. Okay? And so I wouldn't be like, hey, he's so toxic, he goes out with the other girl. No. I'd be like, tell me about your life. Date number one. Tell me about your life. Who are your friends? Oh, you know, my friend Jennifer. Like, tell me about your schedule with your friends. Like, who are sort of like, what is, when you're single, who are your friends that you talk to? Who are your friends that you do things with, right? You have to understand where he's at without changing them. And, you know, like, I would say guys are like, they mostly, I'm talking about grown men now, right? I don't know what they do at 21. I bet you they have a lot of female friends. But a man who's in his late 30s, 40s should not have female friends that he goes out with, unless he's hoping to get something out of them, which is fine, right? Any normal single man at 40 would try to do that. But the moment he meets you, or he meets a woman who's important to him, that should kind of just go away, right? What's going this? What about women who have male friends? We'll talk about that in my next live. I'll make some videos on relationships now that I deactivated my other account, because I felt like this account is better representing me and what I want to communicate to the world out there. But I'll make some videos about it if you guys are interested. And this for you. How did you tell him that you do not want this for you, Mona? Okay, so what happened with my SP? Okay, and I learned I would have never done that before, because before my SP, I've actually never met a man who had women friends. As you guys know, I was married. My first husband he didn't have any women in his life other than the women he was dating or trying to sleep with, and obviously all of those went away. And then I didn't really like the men in my life, the men in my family. They don't really have women friends, so I didn't even, you know. But you know, when I met my SP and we dated, the first round that we dated for 9 months, I made the mistake of not even asking. I didn't even think it was an issue. And then all this like women friends came out of the woodwork. Like I knew for a fact he was exclusive with me, but you know, it was like, oh, this person, they went for a drink because they were like in proximity of each other, or they went to a class together, or, you know, like it was just, or it was this friend's birthday and he bought them a gift or something like that. Right. And so for me, you know, I came to a point, he was, you know, I was divorced, he was divorced. And, you know, I was like, look, maybe he hasn't been divorced enough. He was divorced for about 3 years at the time. And I was like, maybe this is the lifestyle that he wants. He needs a lot of emotional support from women. I'm sure he didn't have that while he was married. And I sort of told him that, you know, that was the reason, you know, I was ending the relationship, because for me, I don't want to change anyone's lifestyle, right? I don't want to take anything from anyone. Right? And for me, after you date somebody for a few months, you have to determine, is this the person that's going to be my life partner or not? And if he's going to be my life partner, because he had all the qualities for it, okay? He was a protector, provider. He always prioritized me, right? But I didn't like this side thing, that the fact that he had this emotional needs. And I knew for a fact that him being my husband or living with me, being my life partner, he would not be able to go out there and spend $100 on another woman. I would not be okay with that. You know, like in my heart, I was not going to pretend that I'm okay with it. And sort of like, yeah, I just said, I'm not going to proceed forward, right? Like it wasn't even like, I'm not going to proceed forward because this is not going to work out in my life. Like, I don't want to be hurt that, you know, there's messages, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend, and I'm feeling really sad. And that would be something that my man that is in my house that I'm sleeping with, he has to take care of that friend's emotional needs. Get it? Like, it doesn't make any sense for me, right? To give me and my life and my time and energy and body to a man who now has to respond to his friend's emotional needs. I can't do that. I don't know if you guys can. I'm not saying it's wrong to include those people in your life. I'm saying for me, it's just like a complete no. And so it ended, right? And so when he came back and he wanted to talk about things, the first thing he said, I realized those friendships didn't serve what I wanted for my future. Like, you're right. They were like something that, you know, at some point in my life soothed me or whatever. It gave him whatever it gave him, right? But it's not something that was going to be conducive to his future, right? If he was looking to just stay single and just have various friends and to do various things with, then they would have been okay. But he also realized he was looking for a life partner. And he realized that structure, like, he's a very intelligent man, right? He said that structure worked for the number of years that, you know, I recovered from my divorce or whatever. And now I want the same thing as you, right? So the situation had changed. I'm being like super honest with you guys on what happened. But here's the thing. After him, because I did date, okay, for the 4 months, like I went on dates for the 4 months that we weren't talking. My first question, who are your friends? Do you have any women friends? Okay. And most answers I got from guys is like, you know, no, friendships between men and women can't really work. I don't have any women friends. I mean, I have my friend Jennifer, who's like my mom's best friend's daughter, who's like, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, it would be something like, but it's not like friends that they would hang out with. But the point I want to make here is that you cannot repeat the same mistakes. It's okay to make every mistake out there, but it's not okay to repeat it, right? So if I had gone on the dating market again and not asked this question as the number one question, if I would have been like, I really like this guy, I hope he doesn't have women friends. I hope, at this point, I already know it's a non-negotiable for me. Okay, if I know it's a non-negotiable for me, it doesn't matter. He shows up in a BMW X6, that he's crazy about me from day one. He brings me 24 roses. He wants to see me again. It doesn't matter. If afterwards he goes home and talks about our date to his best friend who's a woman, I'm not going to go on a second date because I know I can't handle this long term, right? I'm not going to pretend my boundaries are different than what they are. This is who I am. Doesn't matter. Oh, Mona, you're insecure. Maybe. But so I'm not going to be with somebody who's triggering my insecurities. Get it? I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to take 10 years to fix my insecurities so I can tolerate a man who has women friends. That's ridiculous, right? I would rather just get one who doesn't have any. Do you see what I mean? Do not let the world dictate who you are or what you should accept. That's all. Your boundaries will be different than mine, but that's the point I'm trying to make. Let's see. Was there any more questions? Let's see. I keep male friends in my life for networking purposes. Yeah, it depends what kind of friendships you are, okay? You know, like any friendship where you had a date with somebody and you called this friend is questionable, right? If it's a friend of the opposite sex. I would say, you know, like even like a guy who's looking for a girlfriend or is looking to provide for a woman, is he likely to do that when he knows like there's another guy taking her out, even if, you know, like, or spending time with her, or that's the first guy she would call when she has an emotional state, you know? I don't think, like, as a man, you'd be okay with that either. I agree with you and found that some male friends can dominate their time too. Yeah. Would love to start the program with you. The program is available. It's a one-time thing, and it's available in my bio. It's nothing complicated, but you have to do the work every day. Be part of the group on the Facebook too, if you can, for the 2 months that you're doing the work, because there's a lot of value in the Facebook group. It's not an insecurity. Men and women cannot be friends. Yeah, I don't think so. I think like men and women can be friends in university, right? If you're 40 and you're trying to make friends of the opposite sex, those aren't friends. No women friends from my men. I love it. Female friends from childhood is one thing, but yeah, exactly. If you knew this girl, like, you know, she's part of your family group, it's fine to send her a message, happy birthday. That's not a problem. I'm not nuts, but yeah, calling her, or, you know, the worst part is like when these female friends reach out to your men for emotional support, or hey, I need a ride to the airport tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? There's some things that, to me, they seem so ridiculous in terms of what women accept when they trade their most valuable asset, which is their time, for a man, okay? The time we spend on these guys, we cannot get back. And the time it takes us to recover after them, we cannot get back. The money they spend on us, they can't get back. Because money is easy to make. And the more money a guy spends on you, that means he's a high income earner. The more, in fact, the laws of the universe will help him make more, right? The more he gives, the more comes to him. So a guy, if he spend $1 million on you, you know, next year, that's a guy who earns like $2 million a year, right? So it's no problem. The money will come back to him. But you will not get back the year that you spend on him. My ex's female friend called him crying once. I was so uncomfortable. Yeah. Do not put yourself in a lifestyle situation where that can happen to you. You know, you're dedicating to your men, like I said, your most valuable asset, which is your time, your loyalty, your energy, your companionship, your body. And he cannot be there for other women who are not his sister, his cousin, you know, something like that. Obviously, it would be okay. But for him to start feeling like he must protect another woman than you, am I the only one who finds this ridiculous? I don't know. It doesn't really matter though, because even if I'm the only one who finds this ridiculous, I'm still going to continue on with this line of thought. What red flags do you watch for in a guy? How old are you? That's very dependent on how old you are and at what point in life you are. So at 25, you watch for very different flags than you would later in life. 28, you probably want to have a family, probably never been married before. The red flag, number one red flag, is his consistency in today's world. Okay? He has to show you consistent behavior. The moment he dropped his consistency, you drop him. Okay? So if he texts you, whatever that amount is, okay? Some guys don't have time to text you. You know, if you're dating an investment banker, he's not going to have time to text you like 6-7 times a day. So, but he should text you good morning. He should text you maybe one time through lunch, I'm thinking of you. And then in the evening, you should be talking to him, right? That's perfectly acceptable. You don't need to exchange 100 messages. But if you have exchanged 100 messages a day with a guy, by the way, you shouldn't do that. But if you did, and all of a sudden, you don't hear from him from 2 days, and then he texts you, oh, I've been busy with work. You want to get together this weekend? That's a drop. That's a drop, because he just showed you inconsistency. If he's a guy who knows his work could take him away from his whole life for 2 days, that's not a guy who should start the relationship with 100 messages a day. That's the number one red flags. Guys, I have to go. But I'm happy to talk more about this. Come back on my live on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do the work with me. It's a nominal fee. Be part of our Facebook group. We have such a good team going on here. The people in my group usually have the circle and the infinity sign. And, I want you guys to maybe leave some comments that it's a good idea for other people to join us, and they will get a lot of value out of this. At the end of my lives, I do a 369 tapping method. Yeah, I do one-on-one calls. It's also in my bio. Tapping method for I Am the Winner. It takes about 30 seconds if you want to participate. One breath. Keep your eyes open and send this energy to everybody in the group. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.